ಸರಿ, ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಣ. So, as a matter of fact, liberation is one of the lowest attainments on the divine path. Hence, it is just like a toy for the child to play with. Beyond that, there is yet to be a lot to be achieved. The infinite ocean still lies ahead, which is but the limitless expanse. Have your eyes fixed upon that and that alone, and go on and on to trace it out. We had completed till there. Yeah. Yesterday. Let's continue from there. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is also a yogic attainment, but it will not solve the problem. The real state of Samadhi is that in which we remain attached with the reality, pure and simple, every moment, no matter how busy we may be at all the time with worldly work and duties. It is known as Sahaj Samadhi. So, this is a question for you in the exam. What is Sahaj Samadhi? Difference between Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Sahaj Samadhi. So, Sahaj Samadhi is one of the highest achievements and the very basis of Nirvana. Its merits cannot be described in my words, but can be realized by one who abides in it. It is not as easy as its name denotes. It's highly spoken about by Saint Kabir, and it's the only thing that's worth gaining. So, what is Sahaj Samadhi? Sahaj Samadhi is a state when we remain attached with the reality, pure and simple, every moment, irrespective of what we are doing in this world. That is Sahaj Samadhi. So, that definition you might be asked about Sahaj Samadhi. Okay. There are numerous means and practices prescribed for realization, out of which we have to choose the one which guarantees speedy success. Now, what it may be, let everyone judge for himself. For a hint, I accept the judicious opinion of Swami Vivekananda on this point that it is Raja Yoga alone that can successfully lead a man up to the highest point of a level of approach, and that none but one having the capacity to transmit, to apply his own internal powers through pranavati is fit for being a guide or master. So one of the qualifications is that the master should be able to actually transmit or apply their own yogic powers, internal powers through pranavati. I may assure you that Hatha Yoga has no access beyond Agna Chakra. Underline that. So Hatha Yoga can only take you up to Agna Chakra, not beyond that. Besides, there is also another serious defect in it. When we start with the bodily exercises of Hatha Yoga, the consciousness of our physical efforts with the idea of the self in the background also remains all through. Thus, the ego, instead of getting reduced, goes on increasing thereby. So, that's one of the risks. When you practice Hatha Yoga, one of the risks that happens is that rather than the ego getting refined, ego becomes more grosser. But that is not the case with Raja Yoga, wherein one proceeds with the subtlest means for silencing the ever active tendencies of the mind. Besides, while practicing this, one is always away from the idea of the body since he has fixed his attention on the subtlest. So, that's another benefit of Raja Yoga. You have fixed your idea on the subtlest, so you are away from the idea of the body. In Hatha Yoga, since you are doing the body exercises to go to a higher spiritual state, your attention is always on the body. So, when the attention is on the body, the ego increases. When the attention is actually away from the body, the ego decreases. That is what happens. Okay? Does it make sense? In Hatha Yoga, your idea is always fixed on the body. So, the ego increases. And it cannot take you beyond Agna Chakra. Raja Yoga can take you to the highest. You are away from the idea of the body, and hence your ego becomes subtle. Your goal is actually, or your idea is fixed on the subtlest. That's the reason why the ego becomes refined in Raja Yoga. In order to realize the subtle being, we must take up means which are equally fine and subtle. The difficulty arises only when intricate methods are applied for the solution of a simple problem. In other words, they apply huge cranes for picking up a small needle. God is simple and can only be achieved by simple means. So, in order to realize Him, we should adopt such means through which we may be able to free ourselves from things created by our own will, actions, and surroundings. All our thoughts should be regulated and our individual mind should be cleared of the burden lying on it. We should be as light as cotton so that we may start our flight towards Him with the help of a single push from a capable master. So we should be as light as a cotton. In our sense, the reality is infused at the very first stroke of the will, which serves as the seed in the long run. So please underline. In our sanstha, the reality is infused at the first stroke of will, which serves as the seed in the long run. The process is generally set in by one's master so that the seed may grow easily and the scorching winds may not burn it up. The disciples waters it by constant remembrance, which is the only thing needed on the path of realization. So, how to water the seed of uh, reality that is sown? By constant remembrance. So, constant remembrance is the water that actually waters the seed of reality. Grihastha ashrama, family life is not a bar in gaining the real aim of life. I think it is the best ashram in which higher approach is easily possible. Underline that. Grihastha ashrama is the best ashram to gain the highest. Not Vanaprastha ashram, not sannyasa. I am a grihastha and my master was also one. I assure you that a perfect saint may only be found in that ashram alone. We perform our duties and remember him as ultimate reality. That is what we do. That is our journey as far as this process is concerned. So now, these are all fairly simple and straightforward. But some important key words and key sentences you have to remember as far as exam is concerned. Sahat Samadhi they might ask. Dirvikalpa Samadhi they might ask. Difference between the approach between Agna Chakra and Raja Yoga that they might ask. What is reality or realization that they might ask. So some of these things. And again, the Grihastha ashram is the one which can take you to the highest. Which ashram can take you to the highest? That is something that you can ask as a question. So please remember those things. Okay. So any question? The moment I said any question, Bharat disappeared. They started giving sittings,
Yes, brother. Yes,
conducted
started.
satsang.
No, till now I didn't conduct satsang.
Okay.
I
What is
just
your,
practice.
what's your plan over the weekend?
Weekend, I am going to hometown, brother.
Okay. Any questions, Priya sister? Shall we continue then? The next chapter, Way to Realization, Role of the Abhyasi. There are two chapters: Way to Realization, Role of the Guide; Way to Realization, Goal of the Abhyasi. So I think let's look at the role of the Abhyasi. Non-attachment. It is true that we can never be free from Maya until unless we cultivate non-attachment. But it does not mean severing our connection with the home, family, and all worldly concerns and taking up our life as a religious mendicant. I do not agree with those who hold the view that the only means of cultivating non attachment is to get away from the home and family and retire to the solitary corner, discarding all worldly ties. Renunciation effected by such forced means is seldom found to be genuine, for it is just possible that in spite of their apparent forced detachment from the world, they might still inwardly be clinging to it. That's what happens most of the time. Most of the people, although they detach from the world by going away from the world, by secluding themselves in some ashrams or some corners of the world, they are still internally attached to it, clinging on to it. No doubt, as a householder, no doubt, as a householder, we have to look after many things. We have to support our family, we have to provide for the education of our children, we have to look to their wants and necessities. We have to protect them from the heat and cold and so on. For these necessities, we earn and possess money and property. The real evil is only our undue attachment to the things which we are associated with. So underline that the real evil is not the possession of the thing, our attachment to the things that we possess. This is the main cause of suffering. But if we are able to do everything in life thinking that it to be our duty without any feeling of attraction or repulsion, we are in a way free from worldly ties and have renounced the world in the true sense. Although we possess and make use of the objects, everything we possess shall then seem to be a sacred trust from the Supreme Master for the discharge of the duties entrusted upon us. So think of everything that you do as a duty. So when you think without any attraction or repulsion, when you are able to do that, then there is no question of getting entangled in Maya, or uh, okay. In that way, we have truly renounced the world. How to renounce the world? Make use of everything in the world as a trustee that has been given to you by God, and do what is necessary with those objects without any attraction or repulsion to any of these things, without any attachment or attraction or repulsion. Renunciation, now that the next definition, this is all repetition from the reality at dawn. So, this part again you need to underline. Renunciation truly means non attachment with the worldly objects and not the non possession of objects. Underline that. Renunciation truly means non attachment with the worldly objects and not non possession of the things. Thus, a householder's life in which possession of things and worldly ties are indispensable is no impediment in the way of renunciation and consequently of realization only if one is not unduly attached to the objects he is connected with. There are numerous examples of saints having attained the highest degree of perfection, leading a householder's life all through. In fact, most of the saints who come in the Upanishads are householders. And many of them have had two wives. It's the second part that most of our people are happy about. When I say they're all householders, nobody laughed, nobody smiled. The moment I said two wives, what a nice life. This is what they're thinking. Renunciation is in fact a condition or an inner state of mind, which brings to view the transitory and the changing character of things and creates a feeling of non attachment to such objects. Underline that. That's also another thing. Definition. What is renunciation? Renunciation is in fact a condition or the inner state of mind which brings to view the transitory and the changing character of things and creates a feeling of non attachment. ಏನ್ರಿ ಬುಕ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ನಡೀತಿದೆ, ಬರ್ತೀರಾ? ಇರ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಿ, ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ತಗೊಳ್ರಿ ಅದ, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಒಂಚೂರು ಸೀಕರಣೆ ಏನಾರು ತಿನ್ರಿ, ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸರಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಭರತ್ಗೂ ಇಷ್ಟ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಸೀಕರಣೆ. ನಿಮ್ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ವ ಸೀಕರಣೆ? ಸೀಕರಣೆ ತಿಂದು ತಿಂದೆ ಗುಂಡು ಗುಂಡುಗೆ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಸೀಸನ್.
ಇದು ಸರ್
ಏನು
ಅದೊಂದು 2-3 ಮಂತ್ಸ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಮಾವಿನ ಹಣ್ಣು.
ಅದೇನೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು, ಆ 3 ಮಂತ್ಸ್ ಅಂತೂ ಸೀಕರಣೆ ತಿಂದು ತೆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಅದು ಪುರಾ
ಒಂದೇ ಡೈಲಾಗ್ ಹೊಡಿಯೋದೇನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಇದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸಿಗದೇ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಐ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರೆಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಎ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ ಹೂಸ್ grown plants in such a way that he can get mango throughout the year. So he's modified the mango so that you can get it through the year. This is the same dialogue my daughter gives me, that the jackfruit is only available during this season, and so we have to eat as much jackfruit as possible. So same dialogue that you people give me about mango. And mango and jackfruit almost like come in the same season, between March, April to around July, August. So, but it's just that the jackfruit goes on for another 1 or 2 months after that. Okay. So don't worry, you also have company in Gopal Krishna. Every day he says Sikarne. Good. And now, after having spoken about so many times about Sikarne, it has rubbed on our house also. We have had 2 days that they have cooked Sikarne. Dheeraj, you also should be eating a lot of mangoes, I think.
No, brother.
No, Andhra Bangar Pani is famous, man.
Yeah, famous, but I am not that much.
You don't eat much, huh?
Like.
Okay.
No.
You don't like it, mango?
No.
Jackfruit?
I don't eat only. I like only hot.
Hot? What do you mean hot?
Savories.
Savories. Okay. You don't like the sweet things. ವರುಣ್ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ವರುಣ್ ಅಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ನೀನ್ ಬರೀ ಸೇವರೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇವನಿಗೆ, ವರುಣ್ ಕಣ್ಣೀರ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಿನಗೆ ಸೇವರಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇವನು ಕಣ್ಣೀರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ವರುಣ್ಗೆ.
This time is for jackfruit halwa, sir. ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಫುಟ್ ಹಲವಾರು ಟೈಮ್ ಸರ್ ಇದು.
ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ನೌ ಯು ಸಿ ಅಪರೂಪ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಧೀರಜ್ ಈಸ್ ಯುನೀಕ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್, one who does not like jackfruit and mango. I have not come across many people who don't like both. So Dheeraj in that way is unique. धीरज धीरज से खाता है, आराम से खाता है.
My mother will tell धीरज में धीरज नहीं है.
धीरज में धीरज नहीं है, ठीक है, लेकिन उनको दिखा दो कि धीरज धीरज से खाता है. जैकफ्रूट भी धीरज से खाता है और मैंगो भी धीरज से खाता है.
Okay, brother.
ठीक है. So his eyes are fixed every moment on reality, which is unchanging and eternal, and he is free from the feelings of attraction and repulsion. This is Vairagya, renunciation in the true sense of the term. When we have achieved this state of mind, we are free from desires. We feel contented with what is available to us. Okay, when we reach the second stage, second point is the condition of Vairagya. So the decrease in the desires in the first point is strengthened when we actually stabilize in the second point. So this is the thing that we actually see. When you move to the next point, the condition at the previous point becomes more stable, more strengthened. It gets a stronger foundation, so to say. Okay. The end of the desires mean stopping of the formation of the samskaras or impressions. What remains now is only to undergo the effect or bhoga of the previously formed samskaras, which are to be worn out during the course of our life. Nature too helps us in the process by creating a field for bhoga in order to remove the impressions of our thoughts and actions from the causal body. Underline that. That is the so remove the thoughts, impressions of the thoughts and actions from the causal body. So this is something that you will get. Nature creates the field of bhoga to remove the impressions and actions from the causal body. When these coverings melt away, we begin to assume final forms of existence. The man who is born in this world is sure to taste miseries. One cannot escape this. When I see the world, I find it very troublesome. Some are groaning with pain, a few are suffering from the loss of their dear ones, and the great numbers are anxious to achieve success at every step. We try to get rid of these by going into penance, and rishis have devoted themselves thoroughly to it. All that is born of attachment is misery. Pleasure and pain both contribute to misery. Please underline that. All that is born of attachment is misery. Pleasure and pain both contribute to misery. There is no remedy of overcoming the miseries except diverting ourselves or devoting ourselves to God, godly thought of the purest nature. ಐದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದವನು ಪ್ರವೀಣ್ ಇವಾಗ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಆಯ್ತೇನ್ರಿ ಪ್ರವೀಣ್? 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, 25 ನಿಮಿಷ ಆಯ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಬ್ರದರ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು.
ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಆಫೀಸಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ರ? ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ?
ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಇವತ್ತು ಸರ್ಜರಿ ಇದೆ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಅವರು.
ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ವಾ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ನೀವು ಗಾಡಿಲಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು?
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅವರು ಲೇಟ್ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಸರ್ಜರಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ನಾಳೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಯಾಟರ್ಡೆ ಬರ್ಕ ಸ್ಯಾಟರ್ಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ.
ಓಕೆ, ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ. So we need not renounce the world and go for penance in the forest. Let the material world and the spiritual world go side by side, glittering equally. One cannot be a loser in any way if, in doing his household duties, he brings himself up to the realization of God or self. We should soar with both the wings if we want to succeed. Now, Daji now went beyond that and said that we need to integrate both. So we were saying that we need to soar to the sky with both the wings of materiality and the spirituality helping us to fly. But Dajis now said that you need to integrate both the material and the spiritual life. So it's an integrated approach. It is a vague idea of the people in general that God is to be searched for in the forest. My idea is that he should be searched for in the heart. One is performing the household duties and at the same time is equally busy with godly devotion. You may say that these two things are incompatible and are contradictory to each other, but it is not the case. In the long run, godly wisdom begins to work and one does his duty from the mind beyond. ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, when the spiritual aspect of the existence becomes active, we continue with the godly work at the spiritual level of existence. We continue with the worldly work from the mind and the body. That is what happens. So, in other words, it becomes easy. Yesterday, I was just giving an example. You fight with somebody, and then you are thinking about the fight with that particular person, and you are still driving from one place to another place, and you drive safely without any problem. So, the driving is automatic. But throughout the course of the driving, you are actually thinking about the fight you have had. So when you can do two things in two different realms simultaneously, why can't you do three things in three different realms simultaneously? Right? You might be sitting here and listening to the talk. So the body is sitting and listening. The mind is listening. The body might be eating Shrikhand. Who knows? Right? Or what is the other fruit? The other sweet? Our Praveen got some sweet today. What is it called?
Pan sweet.
Pan sweet. So nice. It's nice. So the body might be eating pan sweet. We might be actually thinking about what we are reading. Quite possible, no? See, we are aware of two realms of existence, and we are also aware of doing two different things at the same time. Are we not aware of? Are we not capable of? All of us are capable of, no? If we become aware of three levels of existence, why can't we do three things at the same time? That's my question. Very simple. We should be able to cultivate that habit, no? Where inside, irrespective of what the body and mind is doing, the spiritual level of existence should always be moving towards the God. Why can't we do that? We should be able to do that, no? Gopal Krishna, do that in the Krishna, he disappeared. Wait, I'll do it and come, Anta. Huh? Just ponder about
So
this
it's
for.
just that we, whatever, it's just that
What?
whatever we do, if we do in the godly remembrance, our third thing will start progressing, or how exactly we should proceed.
Very simple. During the meditation, you are told to do certain things and not to do certain things. Apply the same thing to life also, to a large extent. Why can't you do that? So there are lots of thoughts coming. Don't pay attention to the thought. Don't unnecessarily imagine. Don't use too much of force when you lead life. Now, these three things make it easy for us to lead the life. Life becomes very easy. Then, during the meditation, we pay attention to the heart. Why don't you pay attention to the heart on and off every time you change an activity? So, that also reinforces the thought of the divine remembrance. Apart from that, if you have got a condition after meditation, why don't you actually savor the condition? You can enjoy the condition, no? You can recall the condition multiple times. You can actually do the AEIOU of the condition. So there are so many things that you can do, and always be in the remembrance of God by actually thinking that it's not you who's doing it, it's the Master or God who is doing it. So there are multiple ways of doing it. But the fundamental basis for this is that first we need to have the confidence that we can do it, that it is possible. First, we have to tell the mind that it is possible to do this. Because the mind will say, no, 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 you cannot go beyond me. Mind is the most powerful instrument, no? So it will say, don't listen to anybody beyond me. I am the sole authority. Like you have at home. Now that our Praveen is back home, he'll say, the wife will say, I am the sole authority of the house. Right? Then you have to go beyond that. If you have to go beyond that, it's not that easy. Praveen will know about it. Varun also will know about it. That's why he's hiding in the clouds. Right? The other four people might not know about it. There is this happy about it. A good that I don't know about it.
Ignorance is brother.
Ignorance is bliss. See, क्या डायलॉग मारा, हाँ? जो 25 की उम्र में ऐसा डायलॉग मार सकता है वो शादी के लिए बिल्कुल तैयार है। ठीक है, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೊಟ್ಟೋದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು. ಈ ಗೋಪಾಲ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪೆನ್ಸಿಲ್ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಪೆನ್ಸಿಲ್ ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ, ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. In every session of reading, he will drop the pencil. I don't know how he is able to manage to do that every time. Fitting charger, charge ಆಗೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಅಷ್ಟೇನಾ? I thought you would have dropped the pencil. And now I'm just getting an idea that you're dropping the pencil deliberately. So now you have two things to draw our attention. One is the pencil, other one is the charger. And the third one is the earrings.
ಬ್ರದರ್ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಹೋಗಿ ತಿನ್ಕೊಂಡು
ಹಾ.
ಬರ್ತಾನೆ.
ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಶೀಕರಣೆ. That is hugely distracting. ಸರಿ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ. So continue ಮಾಡೋಣ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ. So my idea is that he should be searched for in the heart. In the long run, godly wisdom begins to work and one does his duty from the mind beyond. Thus, Vairagya can be attained only when one is wholly diverted towards the divine. When it is so, one naturally becomes disinterested in his own self, including everything connected with it. Thus, he loses not only the body consciousness but subsequently the soul consciousness as well. What remains then is nothing but the being in the dead form or the living dead condition. So, he is giving a clue. When do we get the living dead condition? After we have crossed the body consciousness, mind consciousness, and the soul consciousness. When all the three are gone, we are said to be in a living dead condition. Meditation. Under the Sahajmarg system of training, we start from the dhyana, the seventh step of Patanjali Yoga, fixing our mind on one point in order to practice meditation. The previous steps are not taken up separately, but they automatically come into practice as we proceed on with the meditation. Thus, much of our time and labor is saved. In certain senses, the usual routine followed for practice is often kept confidential. It is released and revealed only to those who undertake to join them formally. What their purpose is at the bottom maybe is not quite understandable. Nature has no secrets, and I think that one professing to follow the divine path must also have none. Underline that. Nature has no secrets. One who is following the spiritual path should also have none. The practice followed in our mission is meditation on the heart. The same method has been recommended by Patanjali. There is great philosophy underlying it. We find ourselves all the time busy with worldly things. If we are not doing anything, our thoughts seem to have wings in their leisure hours. We are always in tumult and disorder. Our individual mind has become used to such a characteristic activity, and thus we have made everything topsy-turvy. Our actions and thoughts count much in our wrongdoing. When we remain in contact with ideas and thoughts of different kinds, they leave impressions upon our emotional feelings and senses. Please underline this. That whole thing from there up to the wisdom, about 5, 6 lines below that, up to wisdom, underline that. When we remain in contact with ideas and thoughts of different kinds, they leave impression upon our emotional feelings and senses. All the senses are spoiled and adopt a wrong course. The marks we thus make upon the senses and the indriyas turn them solid like rock, having no both or wisdom. Soul is no doubt not acted upon, but we create such obstacles and coverings so as to keep it enwrapped all round like a cocoon. We cannot even peep into the soul, let alone realizing it. By the effect of our vicious thoughts and actions, we spoil our sense of discrimination and right cognition. Thus, who have reached this state of solidity do not like to come under the training course of Raja Yoga. That is why people turn a deaf ear to what we say. No practice of Hatha Yoga can bring about true realization as it fails after the Agna Chakra and there still remain very many states still to pass through after it. Therefore, Raja Yoga is the only thing that can lead you to the end. There is no other means of approaching the center. Underline that. Raja Yoga is the only means to approach the center. We have got within us the same central force, though marred by our wrongdoings. We take work from the same force during meditation. This is how we proceed naturally with nature's force, so to say. When we meditate, the central power we have remains in force. It disperses the overwhelming clouds, which are greatly fried up by its force. It cannot be expressed in words, only an abhyasi can feel it. This can only be known practically. So the samskaras are fried up by the divine force. You will soon find yourself swimming in the everlasting peace and happiness. This is after your journey is completed. Everything ends here. There remains no attachment with the world. So, at what point that we feel that the world is like a dream, Gopal Krishna? Eighth pointer, seventh pointer.
Eight.
So, when we come to the eighth pointer, we feel that the world is like a dream. Now, the question comes, why do we feel that world is like a dream? Because we are now attached to the world of reality. We start not knocking on the world of reality or the divine kingdom. When we start knocking on the divine kingdom, by the end of the eighth point, we feel that the entire world is like a dream. Because the divine world now appears more real than the waking world. That makes sense? Vivekananda went to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and said, have you seen God? Because it's the same question that he used to ask everyone. Have you seen God? Then Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's answer, he was the only one who said that I have seen God more clearly than what I am seeing you. So that answer impresses Vivekananda. Now you might wonder, how is that possible? It happens at the eighth point. When the divine kingdom appears more real than this kingdom or this world, we can say that the world appears like a dream. Does it make sense? So the mind is disciplined and it is regulated automatically. Senses begin to come under control and you gain mastery over them. To master yourself means to master the nature. When the passage becomes clear, you find nature's work within your bounds and limits. Rather, you begin to work yourself for nature. That is what happens eventually. You become a medium of work for the nature. And today's message you saw, yesterday's or today's message, there is no retirement. I keep telling no, there is no retirement in godly kingdom. You continue to work. You read the brighter world message, yesterday's or today's, that's mentioned that there is no nothing called as retirement. And the Venerable talks about the human world where there is holidays, where there is strikes, where there is retirement. He says none of them is there in the divine kingdom. Just imagine what the divine kingdom will be if you have all these chaotic things there in the divine kingdom. He says none of these things are there. No holidays, no retirement, no strike, and no sick leave also. In our system, the Abhyasi is advised to meditate on the heart, thinking of the divine light being there. But he is directed not to view the light in any form or shape, like that of an electric bulb or candle. In that case, the light appearing therein will not be real, but one projected by his own creative speculation. An Abhyasi is, is advised to proceed with a mere supposition of light, with the thought of the divinity at the bottom. What happens then is that we meditate upon the subtlest which is to be attained. So, underline that. When we meditate on the divine light with the thought of the divine at the bottom, we are meditating upon the subtlest which is to be attained. The method of meditation on the heart is to think of godly light within. When you begin meditating in this way, please think that only that godly light within is attracting you. Do not mind of extraneous ideas that haunt you during meditation. Let them come, but go on with your own work. Treat your thoughts and ideas as uninvited guests. Underline that. Treat your thoughts and ideas as uninvited guests. If even then they trouble you, think that they are masters and not yours. This process of meditation is very effective and can never fail in bringing about the desired result. Sit in an easy posture for an hour in the morning in quite a natural way. You should only meditate. You should not struggle with your ideas, which generally come during meditation. Concentration is the automatic and natural result of meditation. Those who insist on concentration in place of meditation and force their mind to it generally meet with failure. In the evening, again sit in the same posture, at least for half an hour, and think that the complexities, the network of your previous thoughts and grossness, or solidities in your constitution are all melting away or evaporating in the form of smoke from your back. It will help you in purging your mind and will make you receptive of the efficacious influence of our great master. As soon as I find that you are free from foreign matter, I will either change it in some other way or ask you to stop, as the case may be. In this way, we soar up high by awakening and cleaning the chakras and the subpoints thereof, taking up Kundalini at the end, with which the Abhyas has nothing to do with himself. It is exclusively the outlook of the master. But it must be remembered that while practicing these methods, one should not force the mind too much, but only sit in a normal way. This process of cleaning is to be repeated for about 5 minutes before meditation practice in the morning as well. Other methods of cleaning may also be advised according to the needs of the individual abhyasis and need not be mentioned here in detail. Suffice it to say that the process of cleaning uses the original power of thought. Underline that. The process of cleaning uses the original power of thought in the form of human will for the refinement of the individual soul. So, what is it that we use during cleaning? We use the original power of thought in the form of human will to enable it to ascend the steep and slippery path of realization of the subtlest essence of identity. Every saint has used the word light, and I too cannot avoid it because that is the best expression for reality. But that creates some complications because when we talk of light, the idea of luminosity is also there, and we begin to take it as glittering. The real light carries with it no such idea. Under our system, the Abhyasi no doubt sees some light, but the glittering light appears only at the beginning when matter comes in contact with the energy. Underline that. Sometimes people see flashes of light in meditation, and that is because when the matter comes in contact with the energy. In other words, it's only a clue that the energy has begun to work. The real light has a dawn color or a faint reflection of colorlessness. Underline that. What is the color of the real light? It is dawn color or a faint reflection of colorlessness. Although light is not the exact translation of the thing, because light is really far more heavy than the original thing, what it actually is, it has been expressed so merely for the sake of understanding. If the Abhyasi begins to feel himself lighter and lighter, it means that he is progressing, because in that case, he is going into the state of that God is in. Light means the loss of weight of one's own thoughts. Underline that. Light means the loss of weight of one's own thoughts. Thus, the real light refers only to the real substance, or more appropriately, substanceless substance. So now he is giving a clue. What does the real light or divine light refer to? It refers to the substanceless substance, real light. Divine light is slightly different. Real light is different. Divine light is consciousness. Real light is a substanceless substance or the real substance. So we can stop here. Gopal Krishna has a question. Tomorrow we can continue from here. Page number 410. Okay. Go ahead.
There is a mention of Kundalini here.
Yeah.
So what exactly is that about here? In context of other people speaking about Kundalini versus Kundalini mentioned here.
In our journey, we don't work on the Kundalini directly. That's why the next sentence he says it's all something related to the master. It's nothing to do with the Abhyasi. So, in some Abhyasis, masters take up the work of Kundalini if necessary in the end. Till that time, we don't touch the Kundalini. Kundalini is the power that is inherently present in the Muladhara chakra. So, there's a storage of power in the Muladhara chakra, and that is called as Kundalini Shakti. And many of the people, especially of the people who follow the yogic path of working on the seven chakras, activate the Kundalini chakra and make it pass through the seven chakras to activate it. So that's the path of Kundalini Yoga. In our system, we don't follow it. It is fraught with lot of difficulties. Kundalini Yoga, many times the energy becomes very difficult to control. So that's why what we do is in our journey, after we have completed the entire journey, then the masters, as an optional thing, can take up the work on the Kundalini. That's exactly what happened to Babuji also. After he had completed his journey, Lalaji takes up the work of Kundalini on Babuji. Okay, that's an optional thing that is only done in some cases, not in all cases. Okay, so as an Abhyasi, we have nothing to do with Kundalini. But masters can choose certain disciples to do the work of Kundalini for some specific purpose. Okay, so as an Abhyasi, we don't need to worry about it. Okay, 8:56 ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬಂತು 7:56. There is this Kannada meeting now at 8 o'clock. So